third key principle when it comes to dealing with low back pain has to deal with the problem of prolonged sitting. There's no shortage of material out there nowadays that everyone pretty much is aware that prolonged sitting is detrimental to our health, rather from just a metabolic point of view, a mental health point of view. There's a lot of problems of prolonged sitting. To me, from a low back perspective, the biggest problem with prolonged sitting has to do with the abdominal atrophy that occurs. That means as soon as I stand up, I have to create some sort of abdominal tone. Like just being upright, these muscles need to be on slightly. But when I'm in this sitting position, I don't really need to do that. And then the other big thing that occurs is not only do I get abdominal atrophy, when I'm in this position, I'll actually get gluteal atrophy as well. Like I don't actually need to use my butt very often. And what ends up happening is so if you have abdominal atrophy and you have gluteal atrophy, if you go back to key concept number one, and that is it's very easy for our brain to produce hyperextension, to produce force. But if I'm producing force in this direction without an opposing force here and here, that sets up a recipe for overutilizing that low back and creating low back pain. So the main reason for discussing this is a lot of times when it comes to low back pain and sitting, people will think of like hip flexor tightness as like why you don't want to sit for too long. And there's nothing really wrong with that in a way. However, the main reason for discussing this is people really do need to focus on abdominal strengthening from prolonged sitting. Like that would be concept number one, that people should spend most of their time trying to counteract the harms of prolonged sitting, would be to really focus on key abdominal strengthening activities. And I'm not talking about sit-ups. Planks would be more helpful, but really what I'm talking about is things that you would do to reteach your abdominal cavity how to work as a breathing muscle. And there's a series that I have on diaphragm strengthening, and the diaphragm strengthening is really abdominal strengthening, and those two things go hand in hand. But the key principle to understand is that if I'm sitting for an extended period of time every day, that I will lose abdominal strength, and that can set me up for it just can lay the groundwork for overutilizing my low back and setting me up for a low back injury.